Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it and we'll talk about it inside. Hey scrappers, Tom here from the iScrap app, and today is Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. This is our last live session of the year, so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, whatever it is that you find happy and merry, or whatever that is. I hope you have a good one. We're live, so if you have questions, please ask them. We have some questions that we're going to answer from last week, but don't forget to subscribe to our channel. This way you can always get the updates on videos that we're pushing out, live updates. Next week, the week of Christmas, and then going into New Year's, we're going to have a couple of videos coming out, just giving you some recaps on the aluminum, brass, copper, and steel markets for this year. A couple other things in there, so those will not be live. Those will be pre-recorded. So we're going to do a kind of a recap for 2024, a preview for 2025. Spoiler alert, I'll be using the word tariff a lot. So we'll be talking about those things, but what's happened in the market this week? We've seen copper prices go up slightly, very, very slightly. Really kind of a flat line if you look at a 3-month average, which really is okay by me because I thought we would have had the markets going down. Now, going into next year, like I said, we're going to have these previews, but there's not a lot of news to announce. Since last week, we heard a little bit about Chinese stimulus going out there. We heard a little bit about the demand for some consumer goods going up. This afternoon, we're going to get an announcement from the Federal Reserve about interest rates. That could spur the market to have a little bit of a jump or a little bit of a decline going into the end of the year. But we don't really expect much market movement because here we are, 13 days left in 2024. A lot of companies, not only in the United States, but across the world, are kind of getting themselves ready to shut down, enjoy the holiday season. So that's when you really don't see a lot of market movement. So it's a lot of day-to-day things that may be happening. So they may be happening. But a couple things. I'm going to read a quick blurb that we got from investing.com, and this has to do with tariffs. New tariffs under President-elect Trump have spurred early stockpiling, but are causing uncertainty. Declines in prices reduce the values of imports like rare earths and fertilizers, despite volume increases in oil, coal, and copper. So when I look at stuff like that, countries are starting to get ready for a negotiation. And what we're going to be seeing in the coming weeks and months is a lot of news about negotiating different tariffs, different rates, things to do with the border, things to do with fentanyl. And all of these things do have to do with copper and different metals because that's how you're going to be able to see a lot of these pressure points push on some of these other countries. And it's going to affect commodities. And unfortunately, the first half of 2025, I do think we're going to have a very up and down type of first half. You're going to have real negotiating taking place. You're going to have people talking that haven't spoken in years or speaking for the first time if they're new members of the president-elect's cabinet or any of the major positions inside. And those are things that just take time to develop. And it's going to be a lot of time talking, negotiating tactics. So we're going to be watching for that. It will not surprise me if we see prices going down in the first quarter of next year. So if you kind of have that Christmas load, this is a good time to probably cash it in, especially before Christmas. But you know, the two items that I would suggest holding right now, the first one is stainless steel, and I've said that for months on end. Nickel prices continue to be at or near 52-week lows, and of course that goes into stainless. But because we've seen some of the steel prices, which we'll talk about in a second, going down, I also think that if you're a scrapper that works with cars often, that's a real area for you to upgrade and make a lot of extra money on, even by holding some vehicles. We've seen customers or scrappers in the past taking vehicles, stripping down the non-ferrous off of them, whether the aluminum rims or the the radiators, the batteries, and then using them as storage facilities. And they put their loose steel inside. So maybe they get 5 or 6 cars. They can store the loose steel inside. When they're ready to recycle them, now you kind of have a mini dumpster full of metal. Allows you to save that metal, put it in there. Hopefully prices go up and you make a couple of extra dollars. But I definitely suggest you check out some of the videos that we've put out there before on auto scrapping, parts to look out for. It's just going to help you get a better idea and understanding about the markets. But I know many of you are just kind of moving things as they go. I have no steel in my inventory. All of our iron, all of our steel is moving every day, every other day, just because we constantly move material. So that's my take on the markets. Not a lot of signs of strength going on in the steel markets as prices this year. Some of the prices are at the lowest level since COVID or slightly before. So that's not a good thing when we look at almost a 5-year, lapse in pricing being this low. That does not bode well for the economic activity inside of the commercial market. Where's the steel going? Where's the industrial scrap going to be reused for? We don't have answers on that. I mean, for instance, think about power plants, right? There are power plants all over the country that have tens of thousands of tons of steel. Those facilities took up lots of acres, and now they're being converted to smaller units that take 1/20th the footprint and thus need 1/20th, if not less than that, of the amount of metal needed to put it together. You don't have coal chutes. You don't have, some of these things. You just have gas lines coming in and going out there. So these are things that we're looking at that are affecting a lot of the demand when it comes to steel. Now, one thing that could help would be some of the oil prices declining. But again, you heard drill, baby, drill dozens, if not thousands of times throughout the campaign trail. That's also going to take time, 8 months to 12 months to really get things going. I don't see it going up anytime soon. That's just what I can see right now. Question?
We have a question from Trey.
Oh, great. Hey, Trey. After Trump gets in there, do you think converters will go back up in the next year? I wish I could say yes. Here's my problem. Electric vehicles are still taking market share. Okay, so even if they're smaller and they get rid of EV rebates, it's still taking a share. You also have countries like China, right? Don't forget catalytic converters, commodities, worldwide supply. The Chinese are heavily pushing electric vehicles, which means they're not pushing a lot of those gas engines. That's going to hurt it. Europe and parts in different countries in Europe, heavily pushing electric vehicles, less catalytic converters needed. So where are the metals going to be used for? Rhodium almost exclusively is used in catalytic converters. Platinum, while at lower price, a heavy volume of that is used in catalytic converters, not to mention other things like jewelry. But really, the catalytic converters spur a lot of it, and the same goes with palladium. So unless we start to see new markets that are using these metals as development or new kind of areas to go after, I don't have a good answer on where the prices are going to go. Me personally, I'm still moving my cats quickly. I've saved a couple of higher grade cats, but right home. I just don't think these markets are going to be improving anytime in the next 6 to 12 months, unfortunately. I just don't see it happening. Other news, we got some news on the aluminum side from oilprice.com. Rising aluminum and copper costs may lead to increased material expenses for U.S. projects with potential ripple effects on steel demand and prices. So we've seen aluminum and copper prices steadily increasing. You add that into new projects, that obviously is going to cost more money if prices are increasing over the years. So we're hoping to see some of those fuel costs decreasing a lot of these things. That should bode well for some of those prices down the line. But right now, I just don't think that we're going to have any large price increases next year. I just don't see it. Even with renewables still kicking into shape, I just don't see anything like that happening. Do we have any other questions right now? We had some questions last week that I'd like to answer. One was reverse math versus one item on the scale at a time. Why do scrap yards weigh things differently? So this question, we have videos on this as well. So let's say you have 5 items. You put them all in a cart, and this is something that routinely happens at Rockaway Recycling. You put that cart on the scale, and you have a weight that starts with. As the scale managers remove items, instead of doing one at a time, they just do deductions, or tear things out. That allows them to just have a smoother process, put things into the bins that need to be put into the bins. And sometimes you just see that reverse math where your first number might be 500, your second number might be 450, 350, 250, and then the last weight is just the weight of whatever the item is plus the cart on it. So it's important to ask these things because we actually have some customers at Rockaway Recycling that don't like how we do this. And they ask us, do you mind weighing one item on the scale at a time? Which of course we answer yes to. So if you don't know what the Scrapyard is doing in these kind of reverse math items, check out the video that we have playing here, but also just ask your Scrapyard how they're doing things. This way they share with you what their process is. It's important to know whether it's for steel or iron or copper or brass. It's your hard work, it's your money. So definitely check those things out. And any other questions, let us know. We had another question. We see that you recommend holding cars but selling copper steel items in cars. Can you explain how those two things differ? How can they not be mutually exclusive? Well, cars have 50 pounds of copper in them, right? So when you have a car that has 50 pounds of copper in it, and we're talking about wiring harnesses and other wire that leads to things, how are you pulling those things out? A car, I look at 95% of the weight being steel, right? The gas tank, the doors, the panels, maybe some of them are aluminum, right? My percentages may be off, but they are different because steel prices, are reported auto prices, I think 120 to 160 per ton. Copper prices have been steady in that $4 range trading wise. So wire and stuff like that is worth more money. So if you're separating these items, that's how I do think they are mutually exclusive. And you don't have to, have one stay with the other, or, go like that. You can split them apart. I'm talking about cars in a generalization. So hopefully that gives a better idea. We had another question. Are all types of comm wires, Cat 3, 4, 5, 6, priced the same? And is it worth separating? The answer is no. Not all of these wires are priced the same, but some scrapyards may have a common grade for communication wire. Now, Cat 5 is generally better. Cat 6 is generally worse. Even though there's more lines in the Cat 6, there's generally more insulation, and the percentage recovery is slightly below. So if you don't know how to separate your wires, or you have a lot of these different types of items, again, check out some of the videos we've shared on YouTube, or ask your scrapyard how they buy things. That's the best way to learn how to make more money or how not to lose money. Just ask about these things. Other things that we want to talk about, let's see. We have, like I said, 2024 recap and 2025 outlook videos coming. So don't forget to subscribe and turn your notifications on inside of YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, turn those notifications on. Sometimes they'll give you push notifications through the app. Emails will be sent to you saying that we posted new content. So we'll have these videos along with reports coming out in the coming weeks, and it'll just give you a better idea what's going on with these markets. But if you're looking to cash in things like your non-ferrous, this is a good week to do it. I would definitely go in and do it. Scrapyards are looking to get this material in and shipped out by the end of the year. So check those things out. And don't forget, January is a great junk month. Lots of people getting new gifts this season means they're throwing out old things like laptops, iPads, game consoles, and things that include metal. So January and kind of that spring cleanup are really two awesome months to be able to accrue a lot of metal and make some extra money either before or after the holiday season. Scrappers, my name is Tom from the iScrap app. I hope you subscribe to our channel. I appreciate you tuning in all of 2024 and since 2011, since we've been doing this. From my sister Virginia and I, and Dominic, and the rest of the team here at the iScrap app, the very merriest of Christmas and Happy New Year's. Happy holiday season to all. Until next year live, I'm Tom, and I'll scrap you later.